Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Doing a late model fixed series race for week 9 here at probably one of my worst short tracks, Oxford Plains. I just can never seem to find the right line in this track in most cars or find the consistency. Last time I ran this earlier this season was in the SK Mod Open race. Felt like I was actually somewhat decent in that, but that was when I got to tweak the setup for my liking. This setup is just really interesting. That's about the only way I can describe it for me. It's the one time I'm actually running the brake bias all the way back in the late model, which is kind of crazy. So I gotta go out for qualifying, see if I can get a fast lap in. Really weak field overall, but still got some guys that seem to have more pace than me. So top 5 for sure is my goal, and ideally top 3. So just gonna see if I can even qualify near that. Second lap typically is faster than me. I really screwed up the first lap, especially through 3 and 4, so I hope that I could try to find a way to improve on that and try to keep it a little bit better through 3 and 4. A little bit of improvement, but lap still overall is not going to be very good, so let's see if that moves me up. Up to 3rd. Okay, so still really... The one's just, oh my word, the one is in his league of his own. Wow, 2/10 faster than me. I don't even know how he pulled that one off. Not too far off from the 5, thankfully, starting on the inside, so feels like there could be a good battle. The one should just be able to check up, or check out and get away from all of us. There should be a good battle for, if qualifying means anything, 2nd through 5th, and quite honestly, even the 7 and 6 could insert himself in that. And then a little bit of another battle between the 6 all the way through the 11, or excuse me, all the way through the 10, and then the 9's kind of on his own. But yeah, it's a really interesting combination. I feel like the setup, it's really loose off of on braking for some reason. If you get on the brakes too hard or if you come into the corner too fast, it's just really loose. But it does this like just seesaw. It just goes from loose to like it swings one end out and then swings it back the other direction. And it doesn't matter what steering ratio I run. It seems to be really hard to catch it. So it's going to be a really interesting one. I felt like it was really aggressive when I moved the brake bias back. So I actually have the brake bias as far forward as it'll go. And I really kind of like try to get on the brakes a little bit earlier, sometimes even before I start turning in the corner, and then I try to just kind of ease into it and then ease back off of it to try to keep it from transferring weight too quickly, and really try to get the car slowed down before I really get into the middle of the corner. Sometimes it gets a little too loose and I've actually got to throw some right wheel into to correct it, and then as soon as I get it saved, then I'm cranking the left wheel back into to get through the second half of the corner. So I've been trying to arc it in a little bit more. I feel like that is the way to go. I just cannot figure out how to make it work. So for me, entering a little bit shallower, but not too shallow to be right up against the curb, seems to be the best way to go for myself. So I try to get the best start, follow behind the 1, see if I can get by the 5, get myself into 2nd, okay, and just try to do what I can. 45 laps should go fairly quick here. Pretty good start so far, able to clear the 5 like I thought. I don't honestly think I've got anything for the 1. You can already see how much he's pulling out. He's taking that bit of a wider entry and then really kind of diving it down late. I think that is the way that you need to go. I just, like I said, I cannot figure out how to do it. P2. And if I try to do that, I feel like I'm going to be putting the wrong wheel inputs and then just going to be scrubbing off that right front tire the entire time. So kind of value trying to keep that as calm and cool as I can, so that later on in the run I don't fall off as fast as everybody else. So yeah, probably going to be about 2 to 2.5 tenths off of the 1. If I can keep myself in 2nd, I'll be happy with that. You can see how easy it is to get the car loose. Just all kinds of out of whack there through 3 and 4. That's what happens when I drive in too hard and get the brakes. So thankfully, big gap back to the 3 prior to that. So was not losing any spots. I'm pretty fortunate that I feel like I'm kind of might be the second fastest car on the track, which obviously matches the car numbers. So just need to settle back down, drive it a little bit cleaner. Obviously overdriving it like that did not help the tires at all. So it's just a setup that I find to be almost kind of inconsistent. I guarantee you it's the way that I'm driving it, but it's just a really weird one for me to run this week. So it's definitely not the traditional late model setup that I'm used to, just being, you know, really tight, and you gotta try to slam the brakes to get that thing to rotate, and then use the throttle to get it to rotate as well. It's definitely an interesting one. So gonna see what I can do, pulling away from the 3 now. About half a second. The 1 is just absolutely gone, 2 seconds already, and we're not even to lap 10 yet. So this is not going to be a good one in terms of having any shot at the lead. No idea what iRating he is. He's probably quite a bit stronger, but it could just be slightly better than me. So only goal right now is to try to just not make any mistakes, see if I can keep myself in second, and try to keep it clean. See if I have should have a pretty good chance at a 0x race with how this is. So I'm just going to try to do what I can. Definitely no pressure from behind. You can see the gap's up to almost 0.8 of a second that time by. So really just trying to do my best to not pick up the throttle too hard in the center of the corner. Don't want to push out, don't want to stress that right front. Kind of waiting to pick it up. It's a fine balance for me. About 2.5 seconds back to the 1 or ahead to the 1. So see, honestly, if I can kind of stabilize that gap, I'll just be happy with that for the rest of the race. I think the only way we're going to have any remote chance at the win is obviously if he gets into lap traffic and makes any kind of problem, which I guess it's possible. There could be enough of a pace difference between everybody behind that he could get to the back of the pack by the end of the run. No smoke yet, so it seems like it's been a really clean race. Not sure if there's been any contact, but not seeing anybody showing on pit road or off the pace at all.
The gap to Alice behind is now 1.19.
Definitely pulling away from the 3, so hopefully I'm not overdriving this, although for the most part, based on what I was doing in practice, I felt pretty confident in terms of where I was at tire wear. Little too much on the right front, but I don't think it was enough that it was going to really make the car fall off that bad on the back end of the run. I catch a little bit of breather, probably switch to session last lap, but it's pretty tight in this track with how constant you're turning and everything that not sure if I want to try to jeopardize a line possibly to do that. You can see gap has about stabilized, not picking up as much from the 3. The 3 looks like he separated himself from the 5 a little bit, and gap was stable to the 1. I kind of overshot that corner, so allows him to pull away a little bit, and he might honestly just be backing off and running as hard as he needs to. So see what happens. Again, I don't think I have any shot at getting to him because passes here can take a couple laps to make, honestly, if the car is able to hang on the outside, and you typically need a big mistake out of the car in front to do anything. So like I said, if I'm just able to maintain, you know, a 2 to 2.5 second gap with the 1, I'll be happy with that for the rest of the race. Just really trying to do my best to slow the car down, try to keep it from getting too loose into the corners. But obviously, you've seen me have to throw a little bit of counter steer at times just to keep it from stepping out at all.
The track temps increasing. It's now
1 starting to open up the gap a bit more, so I think he might have just been kind of laying back and evaluating the car. But I got to make sure that I don't overdrive it. It's also imperative not to pick up the throttle too early. If you push out too wide, it ends up really screwing up the entry into the next corner. Looks like the 9's going to be the first one to lap down. He's about 5 seconds ahead of the leader right now. I clipped the curb. That gets me a little bit loose out of 4. Able to save it. I clipped the curb again in 2. Able to keep it from getting too loose, but it kills the run off. You can see the 1's pulling away. Slowly pulling away from the 3, but I think that's stabilized quite a bit. It's not as big of a growth as it was, but 1.5 second gap is quite a bit. So 5 looks like he might be trying to chase the 3 down. We're going to be getting ready to approach halfway, 22 down, so technically next time on the backstretch we'll be halfway. Really drove pretty bad that lap, so that allowed the 1 to pull further away. Just got to see if I can try to minimize the mistakes, and again, just try to keep pace with him. He just understands how to push the car so much harder than I do without, I would assume, without wearing tires out that much more than I am. It's just got that combination of tire saving and still being able to push the car.
160.
Feel like I might have overdriven that corner just a little bit. Really screwed up the exit out of turn 4 as well.
That was a 16.28.
It's kind of going to be a boring race for you guys since I'm really kind of in my own bubble, but right now I don't also mind that. Just working on trying to run consistent laps and try to hit my marks every time. I think that consistency, if I can start doing that and really closing down the deviation of my laps, that'll be the next big key towards being able to take a jump in skill and finishes. A little bit of smoke. Looks like the 12 had an issue. He's staying high. Thank you to him for staying out of the way that I could clear him with no problems. One's pulled away a little bit, but gap has stabilized a little bit, so so far I feel like I'm doing kind of what I wanted to do. 12 sitting up again through 3 and 4, not sure what's going on there. Looks like the 1 might have had a bit of an issue, not sure if he had an issue with the 1. We were able to close up about half a second that time. I doubt I'm picking up that much. I'm guessing he either had a mistake or something with the lap car because he's starting to pull it back away. So 12 gets himself back onto pit road. We'll see if he rejoins at any point. To keep an eye out for that. So he'll be on fresher tires unless he's sitting taking all the repairs and not getting back out. Yeah, I think the 1 just might have either had a lap car or had an issue. Because he's starting to pull that gap back away. Just overshooting corners a little bit too much now. Getting the throttle a little too much there. I had to kind of blip it on the stereo to make sure I didn't push out too wide to mess up the entry into turn 1. 9 will be the next car in front. Not sure if we'll get to him before the end of the run. We're starting lap 33. It's only 13 to go, just under a third of the way left. Still kind of doing the same thing, getting on the throttle a little too early out of 2. It's causing me to have to blip it on the front stretch to make sure I don't push too wide. There's the 12 coming out of the pits. Thankfully I'll be able to clear him before he gets out on the track. Gap between the 3 and the 5 seems to have stabilized right around 4/10 or so. We're still slowly pulling away from them, so no pressure at all for second. This is my race to finish in second unless I make a dumb mistake or get tangled up in a lap car. One's pulling away again. Clipped a little bit of the curb, that's why I had to flip the throttle there, coming onto the front stretch.
White ahead is increasing. It's now 3.4.
One's really opening it up now. I think he, again, might have just been kind of saving. I definitely think he might have had a mistake, but I think he might have just been driving as hard as he needed to and kind of maybe toying with me, making me think that I had a shot at him. I know I had no shot at him. It's in my own head that if I could just keep pace with him, I would be happy with that performance, even if even with finishing second. Just to be able to qualify in the top 3 and have a shot at a podium, makes me happy, especially being the number 2 car. I really needed to finish in the top 3 to have a shot at any kind of decent progress out of this race in terms of iRating. Only 7 to go as we start lap 39.
Keep it up. The gap to Alice behind is now 2.2 seconds.
If I can get by the 9 easily, I will, but I'm not going to try to force the issue. Looks like he stays high through 3 and 4. Thank you to him.
Still there.
Just going to try to clear him going into turn 1. For whatever reason, I can just never click well with this track. It's not that I hate the track. I actually enjoy it. I don't mind the, what feels like the constant turning. I just, if one time the right line is the shallow entry and I try to do the whole late entry, dive it off and screw it up. One time it's, the later entry. And if I try to do that, I'm either over rotating the car or clipping the curb. It just cannot figure this track out, let alone the consistency has always been my biggest problem here of hitting the, the same marks both on turn
is
in,
now
braking,
2.0.
you know, rolling back on the throttle, exit, all that. I just, for whatever reason, always struggled bad at this track. So, trying to do the best that I can. Got 3 to go, kind of screwed up that corner, looking off to the side. Really cost myself a ton of time, but 3's really the only one doing anything. He's really turned up the pace quite a bit, pulling away from the 5, closing back down on us. So, wonder if he was kind of laying back, saving a few more tires, and trying to wait for the right time to go. I think if that was the case, he waited a little too long to go, but certainly, he's doing a good job closing back up. I feel a bit disappointed to be, almost 5 seconds back from the 6, or excuse me, the 1. It's, a little over a tenth a lap that I lost, and in a fixed setup race, I really want to be within, like, half tenth of the guys, but able to close it right at the end. However, I think he probably took it pretty easy and just drove as hard as he needed to, so great run by the 1. I'm just really happy to bring it home in second. Clean race, no contact, no issues at all.
Pit lane speed limit is
Makes it
30 miles per
a
hour.
little bit easier to enjoy it when you got that kind of race
5,
rather than
4,
some of the races
3,
that I've had
2,
recently that you've
1.
seen or not seen. But
Box now.
yeah, certainly a interesting setup, interesting race, but overall a lot of fun. Take a look at the tires. 78.85, so definitely was wearing on that right front a little bit. I think I just, too many inconsistencies, not getting the car slowed down and really letting it roll through the corner and kind of, sliding it and rolling it over on the right front was causing some of that. So if I were to run another one of these, certainly have to do a better job of not doing that and getting the car, slowed down enough to let it rotate, but, still driving it hard enough to take advantage of it. So it's a fine line. It's definitely, like I said, an interesting driving style this week. I feel like a little bit different than some of the other past weeks with how the setup's been. But nothing to complain. We all got the same setup. Everybody's just got to adjust to it as quickly as they can. So maybe some more time in practice, I might have been able to find it, but certainly not too bad overall. So let's take a look at the results. See how we did there. Really, not too many incidents that I want to look at. Obviously, I didn't really get tangled up with anybody at all, so pretty happy with that overall. 2085, pretty low strength of field, especially considering there was 3 splits. That's really shocking. Yeah, the 1 was a 7600 rated driver, so he was probably going to put me in a bad spot almost all the time. So I guess to have just been outside of a 10th, I should be pretty happy with that, but certainly had a long way to go. You can see I was the 3rd fastest car on the track based on, or excuse me, 4th fastest car on the track based on the best lap. So feel pretty happy to have finished 2nd. That's pretty good. The 3 was doing a great job catching back up to me towards the end. Again, I think he might have had the tires. He just waited a little too long to go. He closed it back down to about 1.9. We were at like 2.2, 2.3 towards the end. So great job by him. Able to gain 61 iRating. So almost to 2,700. Hopefully, get some good races in and finally try to keep myself above the 2,600 that I, was seesawing back and forth for the last week or so, and able to gain 0.10 on the safety rating. So not a ton of laps, obviously getting half the corners per incident at this track compared to, if we were on a bigger track. But still, anytime I get a 0x race, I'm really happy with that, and just got to keep grinding out the, the clean races and doing the best I can with it. Try to establish the cleaner, driving style and still be fast so that people are happy to run around me and find a little bit of respect in me. So hopefully you guys enjoy that one. Feel free to leave any comments for driving if you guys ran it. If you got any questions, I think this series can be fun. The participation hopefully is starting to go back up. Yeah, this week's just really interesting. So definitely, if you try to do it and you need any help, feel free to leave comments as well. I'm more than happy to give you whatever suggestions that I have or what worked for my personal experience. And with that, stay tuned for more races. And until the next one, hopefully all your laps are fast, your races are clean, and your finishes are good. Thanks for watching.